Ram Promaster 1500 Hitch receiver from Kurt. This is how we're going to install it today. We're going to start by using a 7/8 sockets on the spare tire removal tool here. You got to get the spare tire out of the way to put the hitch receiver in. So here I am. I'm just going to bring it down because I need to set the hitch receiver on this leaf spring you see right here. We've got these two plugs that we need to remove. That's 1 and 2. Grab your hitch receiver and with the 2 front ears, just set those on top of the leaf springs for now, and we'll come back to that later. We need to remove this back cover. These are all T30 screws. There's 2 more plugs back here behind this cover, and that's all the plugs you need to remove. Okay, next step I'm showing you all the things you should have. Pause the video and double check that you have everything. Alright, what I'm doing here now, I'm just bringing the hitch receiver up in the air a little bit closer to being level, so it's easier to put the bolts in. I just used the jack. It's kind of what it looks like. Alright, and I'm going to start with my first 2 front bolts. Just pick up this piece that's sitting on the leaf springs, and I'm going to hand tighten the 2 front bolts. Moving on to the 2 bolts on the bottom that's in the back of the hitch receiver. You're going to be putting these bolts and these metal pieces into the hole where you remove the plugs on the bottom, and you need to pull the bolt back out. Okay, that's what it should look like. But when you pull the bolt out, or you're trying to get the bolt back out of the hole, be very gentle. Wiggle it and do not force it, because you might pull this threaded wire off the bolt and then you'd be out of luck. So just wiggle it like I'm doing here until you get the bolt to fall through. Moving on to the 2 back ones by the bumper. Same deal. We have this block of metal. We're going to push it in the hole that we removed those plugs from, and then we're just gonna gently and patiently wiggle it until we get the bolt back through. Like I said, don't fight it. If you lose the threaded wire, you'll be stuck. So you have to kind of thread the wire through the hitch receiver holes like this, like I'm showing you here. Thread them through the back, because we're going to be lifting this hitch receiver up in a second and then pulling the bolts through those holes also. Alright, same thing on the bottom. Now I'm using the jack to set up the hitch receiver in place so I can pull the bolts through and add the nuts to the rest of the screws. This is what you should be looking like at this point. Here I'm going to pull the threaded wire off, and I'm also going to add the nut and washer to each bolt. But you see, I'm being very careful not to push this bolt back in the hole. Okay, hand tighten these for now. On these two back bolts behind the bumper, be very careful. They're easy to fall right back in the hole. So you can see I'm holding on to them, and I'll be using my finger to kind of wedge it and just kind of carefully get the nut on there so I don't push the bolt back in the hole. I know I'm stressing this point, but it can ruin the whole job, make it take forever if you do end up losing one of these bolts in the hole. Now it's time to torque these bolts down. Your kit will include a torque spec sheet for each bolt, so just follow those and you'll be alright. Time to put our cover back on. As you can see, it's not a bad job, it's pretty easy. We're already almost done. We've got to put all these bolts back, and then there's one more step after we're done with these, and you've got a hitch receiver. Now it's time to put our spare tire back where we found it, and we're almost done here. So there's only one thing you got to pay attention to when you put the spare tire back in place, and that is once you bring the tire back all the way back up, this yellow mark needs to be in this sight glass, and you're all set. And there you have it, your new hitch receiver. Thanks for watching.